Tony. Greg Medea from the Charlottesville Daily Progress. The age and experience of your offensive line and defensive line, how does it set you up for more success this year as opposed to the first 2 years of your tenure?
Yeah, great question. If you followed the transition when I took over, the offensive line was really, really good prior to me arriving in Charlottesville, and then there was a mass exodus. And so I think we started with 6 scholarship guys in that first spring, trying to beef that up. So when you look at us today, I feel really good about where our competitive depth is. Obviously, we got a lot of competition. I'm excited about that. We were able to add a couple of transfers on the offensive line that I think is going to help us down the stretch. And then you're going to have a chance to talk to a couple of the veteran guys that have decided to come back. I'm excited about on that D line. We had 3 young men that had an opportunity to transition on, but they decided to come back. And I believe that they came back because they believe in what we're doing, but more importantly, man, they wanted to be a part of helping us make that transition. So overall, from a competitive depth standpoint, we're much improved, and we want to continue to see can we use that to help us improve on Saturdays.
Coach, to your right, 5th row towards the back.
Hey, Tony, Mike Barber, Richmond Times-Dispatch. I'm curious, going into year 3, what have you accomplished with this program, and what do you feel like is still up there on that whiteboard to get done in terms of building your program?
Yeah, I think to answer that question in terms of what we've accomplished, the first thing for me was to lay a solid foundation. And I think that when you look over the last 2.5 years, and I say this very humbly, but I don't know if there's a college football program that's been challenged more than the University of Virginia. And I think that has helped us to really define what our character is and lay that foundation that I believe is going to allow us to build for the future. So did I want it to happen necessarily the way that it's happened? No, but I understand that everything happens for a reason, and we were chosen for what we've been through at UVA, but I believe that's allowed us to really lay the foundation the way that it needed to be laid for the future. In terms of things that are out there on the whiteboard, man, there's the list is long, but I think you got to put it in perspective and be relative to time. And so, the first thing is, man, I want these guys to experience the fruit of their labor and to go out and win some football games, because, man, they've been working extremely hard. They've had some adversity that they've had to overcome. That they didn't choose, but they've persevered. They've chosen to stick with it. And so for us, it just starts with, man, being competitive game in and game out. Let's go win some football games and see can we earn ourselves the right to be in the postseason.
Coach, from the podium, can we stay on the word accomplished for just a second? What does accomplished greatness mean to you?
Man, the ACC. And I can say this with full confidence because in this conference, man, I've been a part of being at the mountaintop several times, and to do it with the class that is done in this league. You look at holistically how the ACC is structured, from the profiles of the schools to the accomplishment, in the revenue generating sports, and then also in the Olympic sports. So, greatness for me is being really good for a really, really long period of time, and I believe that's what we are as a conference.
Back on the right-hand side, about the 5th row.
Hey, Coach. Scout Hughes with WBRF. In terms of recruiting, what are you doing to make sure that Virginia high school kids stay within the state of Virginia to play college ball?
Great question. I believe in an inside-out mentality, and since the day that I arrived in Charlottesville, I've said, and I stick to this, that I want to do it with mostly guys from the state of Virginia. I also understand that there's a lot of work that needed to be done, and continue and still has to be done. The biggest thing is building relationships. I know we're in kind of a weird time in college athletics where you're hearing the word relationship versus transaction, but I still think that recruiting is still going to be based off relationships. And so what that means is that we consistently have to be present in the schools in the state of Virginia. We have to go after every player, and I've challenged the staff, and I believe that, man, we've made a run at every player in the state of Virginia regardless, right? And showing that we have the confidence, right? Because we believe in the product, that we have. And we have an unbelievable academic opportunity. Man, we're building something from a football perspective. Man, we're in an earshot from the nation's capital. Man, you can be down at the beach in 2 hours, in the mountains in 45 minutes. Man, you're in wine country. I mean, there's all kind of things that are special about the University of Virginia, but we have to be present in the schools consistently, building relationships and restoring relationships with the coaches. And then when we have an opportunity to have a young man from the state of Virginia come to the University of Virginia, we got to make sure we deliver, on the experience that we're selling.
Coach, follow the center aisle up to the left. Gentleman right there on the end.
Hey, Coach, this is Grayson Mann with TigerNet.com. One of the matchups on your schedule this year is your first return back to Clemson since taking the Virginia job. Just what would it mean to get a win in Clemson at your tenure back at offensive coordinator?
Man, I think to get a win, any win, man, we're going to celebrate, any win. But we also understand how difficult it is to win football games at the college football level and in the ACC. And to go back to Death Valley, obviously being an alum, and there's going to be some emotion prior to the game. But, man, once the ball is kicked off, I have a responsibility to these young men sitting right here and the other young men that are going to be on that travel squad to make sure that I take myself out of it and that I'm the best that I can be to help these young men be successful so that they have an opportunity to go earn victory on the field.
Coach, to your right, about the fifth row towards the back.
Frank Maloney, who's talking on 910. Coach, earlier on the radio interview downstairs, you were talking about some of the basic fundamentals of what you were trying to accomplish this year. Apply those thoughts to your opening schedule. Much has been made of those first 4 or 5 games and how important they are to your season and for your young men to your left. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I think the perspective and the mindset that we have to have is every game is the most important game on the schedule, and you want to get off to a fast start. So we talk about how we want to start each game, and we want to get off to a fast start, and then we want to make sure that we win the middle 8. That means that, man, we're peaking as we go into halftime, and then when we come out of halftime, man, we strike first, and then we want to finish strong in the fourth quarter. And so we have an opportunity. If you look at it, we have a 4-game stretch, and then we have a break. A 4-game stretch, we have a break. So in essence, you almost have a first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. So we have a chance to get off to a fast start, man. That second game, man, let's go win the first half of the middle 8. And so, there's some analogies that we can use, but every game is the most important game on the schedule. And, man, that's what I'm so proud of with these young men is because they're embracing that mentality. And I can't wait for you to hear from them because, again, it's one thing for me to say it, but the best teams that I've been around, and I tell them all the time, are the ones that are led from the locker room up. And so I think they understand that in order for us to be successful, we got to treat every game like it's a 1-game season, right? But then we also can look big picture and create some benchmarks for us throughout the year.
Coach, stay on the right, third row.
How you doing, Coach? TJ Wilkerson from 90.9 The Light. You talked about making this program the model for college football.
That's right.
Can you talk about, as of right now, where you're at with that vision, with this program, as well as what kind of building blocks / hurdles have you had to go through to rebuild this program?
Yeah, so the model program, means that we want to set the example in everything that we do, and it's college football. So there's 2 components. There's the academic piece, and then there's the football piece, and then also what's not in that name is also there's a social piece, right? These guys got to develop socially, so that they're prepared for the real world, and then they got to be developed professionally so that they're prepared for the real world as well. So it's a holistic approach to our job and to what we do as a program, and that's what we're working towards every single day. And to brag on these guys, man, the last 2 academic semesters, they've set records at the University of Virginia. And I want to say that again. They've set records academically at the University of Virginia. And when I showed up and I told them that our goal was going to be a 3.0 GPA, like, people laughed. And they said that hasn't been done here with the football program. And now these guys have consistently done that. And so that's confirmation that, hey, we're buying into the concept of the model. And I believe that that's going to translate to success on the field. And we've had some other hurdles off the field that we couldn't control, but you know what? We've embraced them. And so what I think we've shown as a program is the character of the staff and the players and the commitment because in a situation like that, it would have been easy for a lot of people to jump ship and leave and say, you know what, I want no parts of building it back up. But all of these young men have made the decision to be a part of that. And so we're having success socially, man. Our guys are engaged in the community, right? They're embracing the concept of developing for life after football. And so we're working in so many areas, and I just can't wait for it all to come together on the field, because that's going to be the last piece of confirmation that, A, we are headed in the right direction in terms of building the model.
Coach.
When you were hired, wanting to build an identity of running the football first. That identity hasn't completely come to fruition yet. How important is it to show real progress in that regard this year?
It's critical because just in my experience, my personal experience as an offensive guy, the groups that I've been around that were at their best is when they were balanced, when they can run the ball. And what that means is you run the ball when you need to and you run the ball when you have to, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that you're 50-50 or your stats say that you're completely balanced, but in order for us to be able to really put stress on defenses, we got to make them respect every aspect of our offense. And hopefully with from the opening question, with some more continuity on the offensive line, some more experience, it'll help the run game all the way together, all the way around. And that's also going to improve the passing game, because then now you're putting more pressure on the defense as opposed to kind of reacting. And we want to be aggressive, we want to attack, but we have to, establish the run game. And I'm excited about the opportunity we have this year because we're a year older, we're more experienced, we got more depth on the offensive line. We've upgraded at tight end just in terms of the personnel that we have there, which is important in the run game, but then also their ability in the pass game puts stress on defenses, right, so that you can easily formation to get into some more of your advantageous numbers and angles from a run game standpoint. So it's imperative that we improve in the run game.
Coach Elliott, thank you. We will switch places with Chico Bennett.
All right.
And Chico